Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on Aso Morning this beautiful, beautiful Thursday. It's beautiful because we woke up healthy. For some of us who have to be here, it wasn't so bad, right? However, we are still battling with the crashing Naira and so many very dire stories. Well, here on Aso Morning, our job is to lighten your spirit so that you don't look at all the very bleak stories this morning. However, we can't help ourselves because after this introduction, we'll go straight to the newspapers and we cannot control what is written there. We'll go through the newspapers this morning, move on from there to join Dr. James Komolafe, who would give us those very important tips on how you should stay healthy, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and so on. And after that will be our first interview. We'll be talking to a woman who has dedicated her life into agriculture and wants to empower other Nigerian women to look at the potentials in agriculture. We'll move on from that to also join the Investment Plus segment where we get to learn about financial management tips, and then our yet another interview. This time we're looking at the implementation of the new pension scheme. The new pension scheme, it is reported that about 26 states haven't even implemented this, and what's happening to our senior citizens. We'll be doing all of that here on the program. It promises to be interesting. We'll also try to reach out to Usman Khatun, who might be joining us via Skype to tell us what the FCT has got for us, talking about the live broadcast by the FCT Minister, Honorable Nyesom Wike. Promises to be a very packed one, so stay tuned as we go for this very short break to return with the newspaper review segment.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because 507, People's TV, channel 285, and UHF, channel 38.
Welcome back from that short break. Now we're going to join Deborah is right here, so we're going to have to
getting used to it. Maybe I should have stayed back.
You shouldn't have. Deborah has been very mean, really. Been joining via Skype, but it's good to have you right here in the studio with us.
It's good to be here as always. It's always a pleasure being on the program, whether on Skype or
I'd rather have you here. Deborah Yusu is our communication expert and our own regular newspaper analyst. Now we'll just jumpstart this segment with the leadership newspaper. The leadership newspaper is leading with the insecurity happening across the country. It says no negotiations with bandits, Northwest governors vow. No negotiations with bandits, Northwest governors vow. And the writers here say Zamfara launches 2,600 community guards. A unitary police force can't secure Nigeria. A unitary police force can't secure Nigeria, says General Gusau. Poverty, criminality in North need urgent attention. Shetima is saying that. Poverty, criminality, not need urgent attention. That's from the Leadership newspaper this morning. Deborah, this is where it comes. I mean, Zamfara is launching 2,600 community guards. While it is very much applauded, because we've always been talking about how that communities should start thinking of securing themselves, but to what extent would this go? People are often very skeptical. Security experts have always told you that it's a dicey one. Are you going to also arm them? Because to counter-attack armed bandits, you need to be armed to some extent. And are they getting the kind of training that will make sure they do not become trigger happy? So many questions.
Yeah, there are lots of questions that goes on with such, new entries to the security apparatus in this country, which is why, in my opinion, has always been that, okay, if we want to establish state police, for instance, we should properly legislate on these matters. No governors or should not just sit within the corners of their offices and just spring up things without proper legislation. I think that is what is missing. We can criticize the innovativeness of the whole idea and talk about, okay, what if we were putting weapons in the wrong arms, and then at the end of the day they turn out to also be part of the menace in the part of in their state. So I think that what is missing in this whole thing is proper legislation. We need to properly legislate this, and then if we want to establish some sort of community policing, then fine, but it should be properly legislated and captured in our, in the provisions of our constitution. But yeah, no negotiation with bandits, Northwest governors vow. I think that this is interesting, especially coming from the particular governor that said this. This is Zamfara state governor, because we had the last 8 years of a governor who was seen negotiating with bandits, snapping, taking photo ops and all of that. And, I think we have to come to a point whereby we can all collectively agree that criminals should not be treated with kid gloves. They should be treated as criminals, and then they should face the full wrath of the law. If at the cost of repelling attacks they lose their lives, that's totally fine, because rather than have a population of people that continue to be a threat and serve as harming innocent, we rather should not even have them in existence at all. But what is to be much desired is to see that these people go through the entire process, face trial, and then face whatever jail term. So that's the conversation that more and more we need to be having. As of these innovations, I think that the governors just want to do whatever that they can to secure their people, and I'm hoping that they said that they've trained them. I don't know the capacity and the extent of that training. I don't know if they're going to be collaborating. These are the questions that we need answers to. If they're going to be collaborating with the police in their state and also the military. I think that for us to be able to clamp down on these bandits and these terrorists, there needs to be concerted efforts and collaboration across the security agencies that are already present in this country. So yes, that's my take on the matter.
Okay, now it says poverty, criminality, not need urgent attention. It does. And then when you look at this, no negotiation with bandits, inadvertently we negotiate, because when they do kidnap, you have to get your loved ones out. And so even if there's no coordinated negotiation by the state government,
but they have to be able to, for them to be able to throw it entirely out of the window, to the point and extent whereby it is not just them, the public office holders or the state government that will be negotiating with bandits. I think you give the families and loved ones of those that have been kidnapped no option. If you cannot, guarantee their safety, and if you cannot also guarantee that you rescue them, you give them no option but to pay whatever that ransom is to be able to get their loved ones. So I think that the onus lies on them still to be able to totally eliminate this negotiation. You should be able to secure the lives and properties of individuals, and also speedily rescue those people without them having that anxiety that will they kill one of my child before I come up with that ransom.
Above the masthead of the leadership newspaper, religious sect laundering money for terrorists. EFCC is telling us there. Religious sect laundering money for terrorists. That's coming from the EFCC. That brings about the very, very uncomfortable conversation around that regulation around religious sect that was kicked against. But this is exactly what we get to hear. And it's something a lot of people have been saying for so long. I'm surprised the EFCC seem to be just realizing
I was equally surprised because this was not, this was not news to us. We had read it before. We've seen even an independent investigative journalist do an exclusive on that. So it came that, okay, why is it that the EFCC are getting their intel quite late when everybody was abreast with this? But what next? What happens? That's the question, because this is not the first set of people, whoever they are, because for the EFCC they decided to not name them. I don't know why we are not naming, calling and shaming those that are, found money laundering for terrorists. But what next is the question, because right now there are several rumors that are going on about, when that's the corruption angle, about them being cleared from corruption, and we're like, wow, how did that happen? So are we going to see outcomes and results as a result of this? And are they going to, in the spirit of, because we've heard the EFCC say that they are revisiting dead cases, and they've started to do that. Are we also going to see that in 2021 the 400 BDC operators that were linked to financing terrorism, are we going to see any actions taken in that regard? Are we going to see the 15 companies that are linked to financing terrorism also, are we going to be revisiting that? Those are the issues, because you cannot say that you're fighting insecurity in all sincerity if at the end of the day the only thing that we seems to be doing is huge amounts of money that are being budgeted for fighting security, and then when it comes to actually prosecuting these criminals, that will serve as deterrence to those that want to go to that line, because they're saying, okay, well, it's like at the end of the day, once they just rescue, or they feel like they've chased us far away into the bush or out of that territory, they recline and they don't take any other legal steps. Then you are incentivizing more and more people to go that line. So it's beyond what they have uncovered. What are they going to do about it? 3 days down the line, are we still going to be reading this story and nobody has been penalized, or nobody has faced any jail term as a result of their terrorist linked activity? Well,
this EFCC boss seemed poised to follow through with these criminal cases. We just hope that indeed he would will see those prosecutions that ripple effect that would deter others. Two court gives conflicting orders over arrest of Fubera's chief of staff. That's coming from Rivers State. His chief of staff is being alleged to have bombed the State House of Assembly. Okay,
it's no longer technical or electrical. What was the coil that what was the...
At the time, I think it was an electrical fault. Yeah.
Interesting.
Electrical fault. And it was completely demolished because of the structural defect coming from that fire outbreak. Interesting. Now we move on to the Nation newspaper this morning. EFCC traces 7 billion naira fraud cash to religious group. Agency uncovers faith-based groups laundering money for terrorists. When we talk about faith-based groups, it's characterized around morals. So maybe that's what's quite surprising, because I can spot fake. Never mind, let's not follow that.
Spot fake-based groups.
Let's not follow that thought trend. But I'm telling you, there are a lot of them who I can literally just see through with the what they say, and the congregations.
There are some of them that are actually criminalized in other parts of the country. There are some people that posture themselves as forward-thinking Nigerians, that they have been banned from entering
certain countries
because they have been found to be linked to terrorists. But here in Nigeria, where we are facing a huge insecurity problem, we find them even granting interviews on our airwaves and moving freely. So when we fail to receive and take decisive actions against those people, you are emboldening them. You're telling them what you're doing is okay, and there's nothing you have been allowed. You can continue to do those things. And so what are we talking about? This is not, like you said, this is not news. And you can spot them from what they have said, what they are saying, how they instigate violence, even, you know, leading up until elections. We had a lot of them that were, you know, publicly recording themselves. It's not like they were caught in secrets or, you know, it was a leaked audio. They were publicly recording themselves and inciting violence and all of that. So, like you said, these are not people that are, you know, hidden and are actually hard to find. That, like I said earlier, and like you have also, you know, alluded to, we're hoping that we'll see more decisive actions being taken.
But what would be decisive actions? Because seriously, they should face trial. But moving forward, Deborah, religion is a very dicey topic. We're already as volatile as we are. So what would you say the government do without necessarily seeming like, oh, we it's a Muslim ticket, we're attacking the sect, or we're not attacking the sect, and all of that? Because that conversation, unfortunately, is rife.
As long as there are evidences to prove that you have been linked to terrorist activities, it's no longer about your religion. And then for me, this is one thing that I have always said, you know, every time this conversation comes rife as to a particular religion being hostile or being violent, there are always those particular sects that come out to say, no, this religion is a religion of peace and all of that. So what we need to do, we need to amplify those voices. And we need those voices as much as they always, you know, come out to defend and say that, okay, it's a peaceful religion. They also need to actively speak against those that are always, you know, staining the image of their faith. And so when that is being done, and we're constantly seeing a pushback from the faith, from the other part of faith that is always constantly, you know, proving and standing by what is right, then eventually we'll begin to get rid of those bad eggs, and we begin to see the change that we want to see. And then evidences, when there are clear-cut evidence, you can rant all day on social media, you can cry foul all day on social media, but there is there are evidences to prove that, you know what, these people that you're calling your faith leaders and all of that have been found in criminal activities. Whether they are Christians or whether they are Muslims should not be the case at this point. And we need to get to that point as a country whereby we build our nation to a point that, you know what matters first is that I am Nigerian before I'm Christian or Muslim, or before I am Igbo or Ham.
Okay, that's a good one. Below the masthead of the Nation newspaper, CBN worries over banks' excessive forex exposure. CBN worries over banks' excessive forex exposure. Naira depreciation. Senate invites Cardoso. Okay, Naira depreciation. Senate invites Cardoso. It will be wonderful to see how that goes. Talking about the Naira depreciation, we saw that it go as much as
1,540 Naira.
I hate to say this, but it's a wonderful time to own dollars, right?
It is a wonderful time. I was talking with a friend yesterday who luckily earns in dollars, and he was like, you know what, I was excited, and I think that was very, you know, modest of you. He said I had not concluded myself. I was excited, you know, when dollars was getting up to 500, but now that it's getting up to 1,005, it's just absolutely ridiculous. The amount of turnover I get. And I think that it's sad to see how fast, how volatile the market has become, and then everything is just going downhill fast. Funnily or luckily, there seems to be a review of certain policies that or new guidelines that the CBN is putting in place. I am not a financial expert. I don't know how far that is going to go in changing the course of things, but something desperately needs to be done, and we need to see an impact in that regard. I mean, those that are paying school fees in dollars abroad, I don't envy them at this point.
I read about it yesterday. Yes,
it's not funny.
It's not funny at all. Maybe it will curb the excessive exodus. Yes. To the Punch newspaper this morning, CBN orders banks to sell excess dollars in 24 hours. CBN orders banks to sell excess dollars in 24 hours. Banks may sell over $5 billion, says official. Cardoso faces Senate Tuesday over Naira fall. Tuesday? I thought it was immediately.
Tuesday. I thought it was immediately. Probably they want to give him time to see if there will be any
change after
as a result
of this, right?
order.
House of David loses multi-million naira Lagos church to fire. That's unfortunate. It's a massive building, and I know that they must have lost so much, but I hope they recover. Yeah, they're able to bounce back. EFCC probing Nigeria air deal, Keyamo is saying. Deborah, this would excite you.
No, Joy. This is not exciting because and the reason why it's not exciting is because because of the pushback that they've been getting in regards. Okay, you are moving far to Lagos. Fine, this is not what we want to hear. We want to hear about the huge scam that allegedly Hadisirika committed in terms of the Nigerian airline. And it's just, so when you're saying that you're probing, when is the outcome of that probe going to surface? Why are we not hearing anything thus far?
Maybe we're for once doing the right thing, doing that proper investigation, so that when they do come out with a probe, you won't be desperately gasping for air
and have more questions than answers, because most often than not that's what happens. Well, we wait to see that probe. I'm very, very invested in particularly in that the scam that has been alleged that Hadisirika committed in the Nigerian airline. There have been a lot that has been going on within the ministry, and a lot of moves and changes that has been happening. They reappointed directors and whatnot, but when it comes to that aspect, which a lot of people are very much invested in, we've not heard anything. So you cannot take forever to do a probe and investigation. Eventually you'll be forced, if indeed there's a probe that's ongoing, you'll be forced to bring what the result or outcome of your probe for Nigerians to see and hold accountable who needs to be held accountable.
Ekiti Obas threatened to invoke Yoruba gods against kidnappers. It's about time. It's about time.
We talk about African juju all the time.
Let's talk about it now.
When it comes to actually, I don't know how far that will go. I'm actually looking for where you read that story.
It's at the footer of the Punch newspaper. Yes.
Ekiti Obas threatening to invoke Yoruba gods against
Yes, it's about time.
I mean, I will wait to see how powerful those gods are, and if they can rescue them, because I mean they killed their leaders, which of course is nothing to
not to mention the school children that were abducted. I mean, when you read the stories from the parents,
million ransom, is so unfortunate. I think people are desperate at this point, will look for any which way to get solutions to the problem. So for those that are, they have the right to worship gods that they worship, and if those gods come to their rescue, I mean they may be getting new members into their religion.
For quick action, right? Okay, Makinde gives companies with explosive 72 hours ultimatum. It's unfortunate that we need to have a disaster first before the right thing is done. There's no reason why companies would be hoarding or keeping explosives in a residential area. But I'm happy that there's a spotlight on it, and we'll see changes, hopefully. Tinubu directs AGF Lokobri to end $1.3 billion oil block dispute. Shareholders excited as Otedola becomes First Bank of Nigeria Holdings chairman. Abductors flogged Ekiti school children, the proprietor is saying right there. That's the most unfortunate story to read.
Absolutely.
In a country that is still battling with over 20 million out-of-school children, and the ones who are in school do not seem to be safe at all. It's very sad.
When this was very much prevalent in states in the northwest, we had a lot of schools that shut down because
they could not protect the pupils.
So, and leaving some of those students going back to hawking and doing some very, menial jobs as a child should not even be doing. We want to talk about child rights acts, we want to talk about child abuses and all of that. So, I think that at this point, we have no option but to explore all options necessary to bring this to the past. Let it be a thing of the past.
Okay. Well, To the Guardian newspaper this morning, the Guardian newspaper leads with CBN frantically tightens noose on banks, FX operations, speculators. CBN frantically tightened noose. Where did I get losing from? CBN frantically tightens noose on banks, FX operations, and speculators. EFCC traces 7 billion naira to religious bodies, alleges faith leaders laundering funds for terrorists. Monarchs killing. Oni George call for community policing, impute of ex-service chiefs. I agree, because they can still bring their experience into what's going on now. They not necessarily bring them into active service, but there's so much to still learn.
Of course, they can always consult them for input, like they have rightly put out there. Insecurity is not something that one person is the master or has the answers to everything. So perhaps they could also give them some insights to some of the challenges, which I believe that other reports that documents should be available. But there's nothing wrong, seeking input of ex-service chiefs and other, security experts in Nigeria to come and impute in terms of, especially when they want to put up a community policing and all of that. Perhaps also they will also help in training some of these community police or people that would be
that's another conversation. That's a conversation for another day, because if we want to follow this community policing, there are several concerns as well that a lot of people have raised, really important concerns. Really. Okay. 1 in every 10 extremely poor people live in Nigeria. 1 in every 10 extremely poor people live in Nigeria. That's coming from the World Bank. 1 in every 10 extremely poor people live in Nigeria. That's statistics. You would have to go to the Guardian newspaper to get that story to know how.
Does that surprise you, Joy?
Yes, it does surprise me.
Why does it surprise you
in the world?
When we, got into the point whereby we were the poverty capital of the world, why should that surprise you?
I still battle to agree with that statistics. I mean, I've seen their situations, but we're talking in the world. Ukraine is still fighting. Palestinians are still
that
fighting.
in the same breath that you can say that 1 in every 10 extremely poor people live in Nigeria, says World Bank. That leaves 9 others. So those other countries, they would also have the same statistics.
10?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not surprising to me, because if you see the rate at which people are suffering, a lot of people go, even people that you would not expect, people that you consider or you see looking good and you expect that they should be able to afford 3 square meals, can barely, right now with the economic situation, are barely affording to eat that full 3 square meals. Talking about, the number of people that are under them in terms of family and how many people they have to cater to. Come on, Joy, a lot of people are suffering. And
I think that, but I don't know.
Do you want to talk about the unemployment rate? If you do not have work, how do you now? How are you not surviving? I'm talking about the business and companies that have been moving out in droves.
I'm not living in a
bubble. I think you are. For you to go news.
I'm not living in a bubble, but we're talking globally. We're talking globally. I can understand the level of poverty in the country. We saw the statistics of the multi-dimensional.
It's not only Nigeria, as we say, 1 in every 10. That leaves 9 others. So we can also have news saying that 1 in every 10 extremely poor people live in Niger.
In 9 other countries, I understand
in
that.
Mali. So there are 9 other people, but 9 other countries that you are
that doesn't make me feel any better.
I'm just trying to let you know that.
It really doesn't make me feel any better. Let's go to the other stories here. Northern groups tackle Tinubu over withdrawal of 3 nations from ECOWAS. Northern groups tackle Tinubu over withdrawal of 3 nations from ECOWAS. Well, tackle Tinubu, I don't know about that. But there are concerns as well. We are bordering some of those nations. So, yes, I can understand that as the chairman of ECOWAS, Like, Oga, what did you do?
You suspended them, you imposed sanctions that they were pleading that you remove those sanctions, and you said that they cannot approach the courts because, of course, it's not a democratic government in those countries. And then I don't think that it is surprising for these 3 countries that have moved out of, because these Sahel countries for long, especially when they came to the point whereby they had overthrown, that was something that they were being considered, and right now it's very likely that we see more people begin to pull out of ECOWAS, because you have already suspended them. You're not willing to, you said that you're exploring diplomatic means to resolve the issue,
which we did see ECOWAS effort in that, but
it has not made the kind of the results have not been forthcoming. And
it's a junta. Very often,
exactly.
you don't meet them in the
for
same
them now, for their
standard.
interest, and that's what I'm trying to establish. So for their interest, which of course can be argued whether it's in the interest of their people, for their interest now to actually continue to remain as a junta and not transit to a democratic government, it is in their interest to exit the ECOWAS, but it's not in the interest of the ECOWAS for them to have them leave.
Well, you're probably right, but it also exposes them now, doesn't it? If they do not have that big brother umbrella that ECOWAS was supposed to have been offering. I saw that. I will not leave this story if we continue that, but
excuse me.
Reps set December 2025 to deliver new constitution. Reps set December 2025 to deliver new constitution. Deborah, here we go again.
Here we go again. I mean, we had the 9th Assembly that failed to do all the constitutional amendment. They did make some, of course. I cannot but acknowledge that fact. So, new constitution. I mean, any individual that you speak with that wants the progress of Nigeria will tell you we need a new constitution as a matter of urgency, and I'm hoping that they are able to deliver this, because the amount of funds that goes into amending this constitution, because it's a new constitution, it's not an amendment, is a lot. So I'm hoping they can deliver on this promise, because we had the 9th Assembly who were in the habit of not fulfilling the number of days that they were meant to sit. So if these people are actually as committed and dedicated, then they can actually fulfill this. But I'm hoping that this new constitution is actually going to be very progressive, and it's actually one of the things I'm hoping to see this new constitution do for Nigeria is restructuring Nigeria in a way that you sort of decentralize the country and actually give more states the control of their resources, and thereby removing the excuse that, well, we cannot do this, we cannot do that because we do not have some of these things in the exclusive list. So these are the issues. There are a number of things talking about women and the laws that cripple and sort of stifle women. I'm hoping that we'll see some of these laws being thrown away. I think it will make it faster than some of the advocacies that we have been doing over the years that have not yielded the kind of results that we want to see. The child protection rights, which we've seen that has that act that is in place. A lot of things that has to do with putting us in a place whereby we actually can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we can actually move in the direction whereby we have lots of provisions, and this new constitution is going to, hopefully, if they do it right and actually put the right thing in place, can actually position us for the future that we want. But what's exciting to me here is hopefully to see that a lot of those laws that inhibits and stifles women's participation in politics, in governance, and economic empowerment and all of that, and abuses would this is an opportunity to totally do away with them. Yeah.
Okay. Women protesters in Nasarawa to pay 500,000 naira bail after 12 days incarceration. Women protesters. I tried to do a quick one on that. Is it the women who went naked after the proclamation of Governor Sule as the executive governor?
I would like to think so.
500,000 naira.
I thought bail is free. One of the
is this a court verdict on them, or this is just?
I totally have not looked into that story.
I honestly was
hoping for women who were protesting, which of course protest is a constitutional given right. I don't see why they have to pay 500,000 naira in bail. What did they do?
Maybe because they went naked. I mean, public display. There's a proper term for it. Public. Not nuisance, public nudity.
A protest is supposed to. It's almost like a what's the word now? You're trying to make a statement
to get attention.
This is not the first time women are protesting naked. Southern Kaduna women at a time protested naked when they were protesting against insecurity and all of that. And that was even when the God, I was almost about to say something that should not be said on air. That was when El-Rufai was in office. He didn't pay attention to that. And then we're having them pay where are they supposed to get the 500,000 naira bill? I think this is at this point whereby we will now call for those CSOs that, try to facilitate the release of people that should not even be incarcerated in the first place.
Well, I don't even know who pegged this bill at 500,000 naira. I would really love to read the story. I urge people watching us right now to do the same and read the story so you get a proper insight into what's going on. Women protesters in Nasarawa. I remember the project released the Nasarawa Women campaign where you've incarcerated them. Why would you incarcerate people who are just protesting? Let them go.
It does not make sense in the first instance.
Well, to the Blueprint newspaper. EFCC uncovers religious sex laundering 7 billion naira for terrorists. Associating internet crimes with Nigeria lacks statistical evidence. Tinubu is saying that associating internet crimes with Nigeria lacks statistical evidence. I like that our president is changing the narrative. Our image is, you shouldn't put it beside, yes, is renewing. You can't put beside the Nigerian youth internet fraud. We are hardworking, intelligent, resilient people.
Absolutely.
Police reject 8.5 million naira bribe in Taraba. Arrest suspect. That's a very beautiful one coming from the police. I hope it's not because there were cameras.
Why would you think that someone will offer a bribe in the presence of cameras? And you know that just was it last week? So there was one in Kano who rejected 1 million. Mm-hmm. And people, I've seen some of the funny comments on social media. Like, it's because it's 1 million naira. But now the police are trying to, cleanse their image, and they're telling you that we have a lot of noble people in the force. And we're hoping that a lot of people would take after this. These noble examples that they are being taught within the force, because one thing is sure, and one thing that I have even experienced as a result of having a member of my family kidnapped in the past years was the fact that some of these ransoms is the police that will help you deliver it.
Yeah, it's no news. It's the police that will help you deliver it.
Of that, what you would,
but well, Anambra widow, 17-year-old daughter nabbed selling 2 boys for 1.8 million naira. 17-year-old daughter, widow, 17-year-old daughter nabbed selling 2 boys for 1.8 million. The justification the woman gave was she wanted to take care of their other siblings.
Children. I'm like, wow. What logic?
What logic? Can you sell your own child? You don't know what would become of that child. Can you really do that? I'm a mother, so it's difficult to really bring myself to that. You cannot have access to this child. You don't know what comes out of this child's life. You will not connect. It's unfortunate, but then again, we should look at our poverty level in the country.
That's what is driving people to such desperate ends.
Bayelsa Navy destroys 3 illegal refining sites laden with stolen crude. Ex-NSA Gusau calls for creation of support structures to tackle terrorism. The likes of Ali Gusau are one of those people that should speak more, be more involved in it, because he has a wealth of experience. Moving on now to the New Telegraph newspaper. This morning, the New Telegraph, Senate summons CBN governor over worsening economy, free fall of the naira. And the riders here says, inflation of great concern. Apex Bank orders lenders to limit exposures to foreign currencies. Nigeria playing with 3,500 to $1 by year end, says Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. That's MAN, right? MAN, yeah. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. 3,500 to $1. Our currency would be worse than the Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. I remember when we used to mock them, and apparently I really do hope that you know, whatever interventions that the CBN is making and the steps that they are putting in place will actually have the kind of effect that we hope to see, because at this point people are even begging that we go back to 500, because at that point where we were at 500 we thought that it couldn't get worse. But I mean, Nigeria has always proven to you that at any point in time where you think that it can get worse than this, it really can. It really can.
Okay. Otudeko to get 2 board seats after withdrawing all court cases in phased return to stakeholders. Otedola is the First Bank of Nigeria Holdings chair. Ex-President Jonathan to lead Commonwealth mission to observe Pakistan's elections. COVID-19, reps order Federal Fire Service to refund 1.48 billion naira. Nigeria operating fake constitution. Wole Olanipekun is saying that. I don't know where he got that from, but I think it's an editorial. You get to read that. Oborowori uncovers over 230 million naira fraud, suspends commissioner orders. Commissioner for agriculture was suspended in Delta State, including some of the directors there. And I like it. I like that. Absolutely. He's taking I hope it's not just suspension, although there's a committee to probe, as we always have. There's another committee to probe what went down there, but I just like that there is that body language of we would take, it's a no-nonsense administration. If we are fingered in corruption, you are going to be out. And
hopefully behind bars soon.
Hopefully behind bars soon. Deborah, gone are the days when we say your name is as strong as whatever. Now people really do not care.
The people don't care about virtue anymore. People do not care about, you know, how they say, I think it's the Bible that says a good name is better than riches. For a lot of Nigerians.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to quote, but I'm bad with Bible.
Office holders, for them, riches is a lot more than their names. But hopefully that they will be rid of both their good name and both the riches, because when you are behind bars, none of it is going to matter anymore.
Atiku will be too old for Nigeria's presidency by 2027. Bude George is saying that. I don't know what he means by too old.
I don't know what you mean by you don't know what he means by too old. If you ask me, even our current president is too old.
Well, that's your opinion.
That's my opinion, which I share with Bude George.
But Atiku still reserves the right as a citizen of Nigeria to run.
To continue on his serial.
So Bude George thinks that he would be too old to run.
That is his opinion.
That's his opinion.
Atiku at this point is a serial contestant for the Nigerian presidency. I don't know.
Maybe, just maybe, 2027 is the charm.
Joy, come on now.
Just
living in a bubble. We have a country whereby we, except for the time where Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did the noble thing, and because of the violence and conceded, and we have a country whereby once after the first election, sadly, shouldn't be so. We already have this resign at time. I'm like, oh, it's going to be another long 8 years. When
Atiku came back to run in 2023. For the 2023 elections, but I'm just talking about prior to the elections. One of the many accusations he had to tackle was that, oh, you left after the other elections when you didn't emerge and traveled and you weren't concerned about what was going on. But have you noticed that he's really in the news all the time? He's participating and
learning
engaging
from his
government.
mistake, but he will be
So
contesting
maybe
even under
now
a weaker
he's-
party than it was before the
Well, now he has to work even harder. Now he
strengthen the
knows,
party.
he knows he's, you can see him.
But we
blocking
cannot see
the
any
loopholes.
steps that they are taking, as I'm talking about the PDP as a party now, to actually, solidify their party. Apart from-
2026.
Joy,
2026.
I remain a pessimist in this regard. I don't even know. I think Atiku should just enjoy his millions.
Go Atiku. You are giving us is the best motivation.
That the journalist has gone endorsing.
No, I'm just happy that there's somebody who's teaching young people resilience. This is resilience
Wow.
today.
Buhari also taught resilience. If you're going to go that route, Buhari was also a serial contester.
when you fall, you move back up. Go Atiku. I'm rooting for
Perhaps
you.
resilience in failing, and perhaps resilience in not following guidelines of your parties. Perhaps resilience in weakening.
You're speaking
your party
English. What I
structure.
know
Perhaps
is this
that's
man
what
has
we
not
can
let go.
from Atiku.
Let go from his ambition to become president, and I must commend him for keeping his vision alive and
I don't
true.
think Atiku will make a good president, so I don't know.
Okay, now,
As far as I'm concerned, like I say in the same breath that I don't think Atiku will make a good president. In the same breath, I didn't think, and I'm being proven to be right, that our current president will not make a good president. So for me, it's not just about the age. It's about a class of people which I think that they've done, or they've already served they've already shown us to the extent of what they can deliver, and that is not where we are at, or where we should be at as a country right now. So which is why I'm less optimistic whether Atiku contests 2027 or not. I don't think it's going to. I think it's still going to be yet another year where he contested and lost.
Okay. Well, having said that, thank you so much. We would end this segment on that note. Deborah Yusuf, our communication expert and analyst, thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you for having me, as always. Always a pleasure.
It's time to go join Dr. James Komolafe, who will give us those very priceless tips on how you should do your checkup from the neck up. It's going to be interesting. Stay tuned.
Hi out there, welcome to the show. Dr. James Komolafe from the School of Articulation and Behavioral Alignment Resources, also known as SABA Resources, your one-stop behavioral hub for the virile health, full expression, for optimal productivity. For some time now, we've been on a series so compelling and trendy on the subject of sudden collapses. And today I'd like to show you how to profile yourself for sudden collapses and walk away from it. You know, it is what you know about that you can also plan and prospect to walk off from. So what do I need to do as an individual to walk myself away from both the track and the trap of sudden collapses? Maybe we should start from the difference between the two. A track is a pathway that leads to an eventual destination that we call sudden collapses. Why the trap is when you find yourself in the center of it all and it is just waiting to manifest and materialize, and the individual finds himself down on the floor just because of sudden collapses. Please watch out for your triggers. Listen to yourself very carefully from the inside to the outside. Stop taking things for granted. Stop procrastinating. Somebody said procrastination is the thief of time. What you are supposed to do now, don't postpone it till tomorrow. Don't say I am busy and all you care for is deadline, deadline, deadline. You are on deadline all of the time. In fact, one day we sat down and we look at the composition of the word deadline, and we'll find out that two words stands out: dead and line. And you can join the two together to say line of the dead. It's not my prayer for you, but you need to be very careful to do the needful at the right time, neck up as we check you up, so that you can be good neck down. So how do you walk away from sudden collapses? You need the idea method to walk away. So what's the idea method? By letters I, D, E, A. Idea. So letter I stands for identification. Find out what exactly is triggering your own sudden collapses, and where are you collapsing? Why are you collapsing? What is collapsing you? And all of that, from the inside to the outside. And then letter D is definition. You need to be able to define it. What is that issue? You need to be able to pinpoint in specific clear terms what is defiling you for sudden collapses. Is it mental collapses? Is it physical collapses? Are there journeys leading to emotional collapses or spiritual collapses? You need to be able to fix it. And then letter E is evaluation. By the time you identify and you define, you will now know which route to follow. You evaluate, you lay all the cards on table, and then letter A is administration. We have helped so many people to walk away from bad lifestyle, bad culture, and cultural practices through the idea method. You will fix it from where it is faulty so that you can regain yourself again to your default setting. Please, sudden collapses is very real and trendy everywhere. It has no regard for age or anyone. You walk in that trap, then you are hooked. We walk you back through our reality checks to find out the extent and then showcase the needful. Send to us today on my telephone number +234 8035 999 220. I and my team are working tooth and nail to ensure that we don't have the next collapses in the hospital, in the home, in the organization. And we have facilities we want to donate to your organization to prospect for this and walk people away from it. Thank you so very much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Dr. James Komolafe, thank you so much for giving us those very important tips, and I'm happy you left your phone number, and I encourage viewers to do make that call so that you can get all the many important tips that Dr. James Komolafe has just shared, and maybe better maybe better. Now, we had an exclusive interview earlier with Ambassador Queen Eko Babalola, visionary and president of Every Woman Agricultural Empowerment Initiative, Iwe. I hope I pronounced that right. You enjoyed that interview. She was talking about how women can join agriculture and be more. So enjoy that report.
We are not revenue-generating agency. We are revenue collection agency.
So
and if you
that
go
women
with
have
the
limited
plan that Mr. President
to
has
say, no, I
to
cannot
rejuvenate
reach out
economy,
for that
because what determines whatever we
I
have
think that is
comes
one
from
of the major
majorly
challenges
from
we are
microeconomic
having.
indices.
You see,
so when
we bring
economic run well, because
map
remember,
out,
we are going to tax
rural
prosperity,
areas, go to
not
these
poverty.
women, but they can't
we are
come
going
out
to
because
focus
some
on
will
the
say,
fruit
my
and
husband
not
has
the
not
seed.
given me permission.
So our duty
in my place,
is
a
to make
woman
sure that we
cannot
have
go
that
this far.
viable
And you see,
economic
that is some of the
environment
challenge that will
lead
make the
to
men
economic
to come
prosperity.
in front and
for us
take some
here,
of these
just to put
challenges
the,
from us. That's why we also,
system
it also
structure in place to
has to do
effective
with
collection,
empowerment.
and that is why we are
Empowerment
here
is
today.
not just giving money to people. Empowerment is
we
also
made 12.3
training
trillion
them,
in 2020.
sensitizing them, building them to be able to know what to do at the right time. Give them
if you
sense
listen
of
to Mr.
belonging.
President very well,
If these women have
our
enough
focus
education,
is to
have
increase
enough
tax without
training,
increasing
have
taxes.
enough
So our
sensitization
focus
to know
is
that
actually
this
to
intervention
improving our
is for us to make
collection,
use of
which
it
we are doing here
and
today,
do
to
well with
drive
it. They will come
voluntary
out. But the thing is, they are not
compliance
even
to
well
expand.
learned. They are not
God is to make sure
sensitized. They are
that
not
we have
aware
good
that they
economic
should even
environment
do
make
that.
companies
That's
prosper.
one
And when
of
the
the
base is
challenges,
big,
I
the
would
same
say.
percentage
Yes,
will give you
security
more
issue is one of the
and that is
biggest
our target.
challenges we are having right now. Most of our women can no longer go to farm.
You see,
Even me,
the number one function for us as a
for a
country,
long
and
time,
then if
I
you
would
look
just
at
send
the
sending
Mr.
people to go
President,
and check.
economic
I
direction
hardly want
is
to
to
go
make
to
informal
the
sector
deeper
formal.
part, to the
And then why do you
grassroots,
call
to go
it
to
informal
the farm.
sector? It's because
Yes,
they are
we're
not
farming in
registered.
cluster,
Today we
but there is
advise
this
that
fear
everybody will go
because of this
and must have
insecurity
NIN,
issue
which
going
makes them
around.
registered.
It's only the government that can
identify
help.
them,
Put up a
owner of those
line there
businesses.
that we
So our
as women
focus is
can
not
reach out
to go
to. If we
and
see
be
anything,
taxing
we hear
informal
anything,
sector. Our
we
focus
call
is actually to
directly,
bring
give
informal
us security
sector
so
to
that
formal
we
sector.
can produce
And then when you
more
go to
food.
abroad,
If we are aware that,
so they are
okay,
tailoring,
this
they are
area,
shoemaker.
this place of our
And then
family
can you
is
call them
secured,
informal?
why not?
So
We'll
our
go, and
focus
if we
should be
hear
how
any
do we
information
bring all
that
these
anybody is
vocational
doing
skills?
any
How
form
do we
of
get them registered?
anything
How
that
do we
can cause
put them in
insecurity,
such
we'll
a
give
way
information
that
directly
government
to the
can
right
actually
source.
deal with
Well,
them
it would be
and
nice for
make
us to
them
work hand in
formal.
hand with
So
the
the focus
government
should not
to
be
be
let's go and
able
tax
to
informal.
combat
The focus
these
should be let's
insecurity
move informal
challenges in
sector
Nigeria.
to formal sector by register them, by improve their skill, and then you can then tax them as.
Okay, every woman agricultural empowerment initiative, AY, has a passion to truthfully add value to the women in agriculture in Nigeria. Not just adding value to them, give them sense of belonging. We've done a whole lot of sensitization. We've brought a new innovation of hydroponics that will teach our women how they can feed their fishes and not spend so much money. No, you know, we give them sensitization to be able to get new innovation in agriculture that will make them yield more profit, because some of the time the challenges we have is the feeds are expensive. We need to come up with innovation to be able to maneuver that will not spend more to be able to get more field. Now we are doing our best in this agricultural field, but our best is not enough because we lack many kind of support, especially financial support. We lack seedlings. We lack more support from relative organizations that will work hand in hand with us to be able to reach out to more women in the hard to reach communities, to be able to sensitize them as much as more than what we are doing, because we are doing our bit. We are not getting any form of support. It's in funding for now. We're doing sole funding and taxing ourselves as a people, as a community, to be able to give this kind of little support that we are giving. So with support from relative organization or the government, we'll be able to do more. We'll be able to bring out more women into the farming sector, and we'll be able to bring women who are adding value to agricultural produce, like women who are into processing of granite cake, teach them how to repackage it, add value, and make more sales. All that we're doing, we've been doing over the years. You can check us out and see what we've been doing. Because we can only do better if we have more support from the government. I would say because people are no longer involved in farming because of the fear of still insecurity is one of the challenges that is causing this inflation, food inflation in the market. Now, if we can bring more inputs and assure these farmers that they will be secured in their farm, more people, like in 2024, we are positive that more people will go into farming, but they need to be reaffirmed. They need to be assured that, okay, if we go into farming, our farmland will be secured, and we also will get intervention from the government, because they cannot do it on their own. Farming is a big deal. For us, for this to be sustainable, we need intervention. We need the government to bring new interventions, seedlings, so that people can go into farming. Also backyard farming. If we can all farm in our backyard, little vegetables, little things that we consume at home. If we make use of this new innovation in farming with our bucket of our unused plastic behind the houses, we can be able to cope these challenges a bit. The only solution is massive involvement in agricultural practices. Yes, those equipment should be meant for women, because it's hard work. To work in the farm is difficult. If they can get these machines available for women farmers, we are glad to go there and do our bit, because women are serious people. When we say we want to do something, we go right ahead to do this thing. Mechanized farming is the only way that we can break through. Seriously, mechanization is a way that we can yield more produce from the farm. If you want to do this the normal way of our farming, it's not going to take for long. Cut that part. This is what I want to use. Hope it's not recording. It's recording. Hey. So what will you do about that? Just go ahead. It's not sustainable to continue this same way of farming. We need to get involved in mechanized farming. And what will the government do? Provide the machines, provide the enablement. Let us go in there. Let us train people, bring the youth out. Let them come out. There's so many youth at home, jobless, sitting at home, doing nothing. Provide the enablement for the youth to come out, for the women to come out, and see if there will not be enough food for us. I will even send to other countries to consume, because Nigeria is blessed. We have the land, we have natural resources. Our lands are fertile. Like Benue State, where I come from, Benue land is very fertile. But what is happening in Benue State? We have a whole lot of waste. We need to learn how to curb this agricultural waste. When it comes to mango season, mango will be so much and it will be wasted. There is no way of storing.
Welcome back from that. Thank you so much, Queen, for giving us those very important tips as to how you can ensure that women participate more and use their full potential in the agricultural sector. We're moving on now to join the Investment Plus segment, after which we will now have our interview segment. So stay tuned. We're talking about the senior citizens. What is the new pension scheme? Why are states not queuing in to ensure that they are implementing this? That will be next after the Investment Plus segment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Investment Plus. Today we're talking a bit about a wider topic, and it's about how 4 ways to transform your life in 6 months. So if you're seeking to transform your life financially, this 4 ways is going to help you. Transformation, you must know, is not an overnight process, but with consistent effort and dedication, you can actually make significant changes in your life. regardless of what aspects. But today we're looking at your finances. So let's dive into the steps that will guide you towards your desired transformation. Step 1 is to set clear goals and create a plan. You need to define what you want to achieve in the next 6 months. What are the goals? You have to set clear, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals. I'm sure you know about the SMART acronym. Once you have your goals clearly set up and all that, you need to create a detailed plan with actionable steps. I call it the SMASH acronym. Once you set a goal, you make a plan to achieve that goal. What are the action steps you need to take? What are the plans you need to put in place, the things you need to do to achieve them? You set that up and then you can hit that goal. So break that goal. For example, if you want to, transform your finances and one of the things you want to achieve is to be debt-free in 6 months, what is the goal? How much do you owe? How much is it that you want to pay down? You may not be able to pay everything down in 6 months, but what is the amount? You determine that amount. 6 months time, I'll reduce my debt by 500,000. You then come into today and break that big 500,000 down into smaller amounts that you can afford to pay on a monthly basis. Now, this will help you provide structure and direction as you work towards your desired goal of paying down 500K at the end of the month. Step 2 is to cultivate a growth mindset. You must embrace the belief that you can create, improve, and develop anything through hard work and dedication. So focus on what you can control, such as your spending habits, you have control over that. Savings rates, you have control over that. And investment strategy is all in your control. Rather than fixating on external factors, the economy, my uncle that didn't help, my daddy, my mommy, the school I went to, the house I grew up from, why was I not born rich, and all of those things. Those are external factors that you actually don't have control over. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Seek knowledge, experiment with different strategies, and celebrate progress along the way. Step 3 is to start investing right now. Right now, as you're watching this show, pick up your phone, get on an investment app, and start your investment journey. There's a saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the very first step. You must overcome the fear of investing and recognize it as a powerful tool for your financial growth. There is no way you want to create wealth without investment, because what is investment? It is multiplying your 1,000 to become 2,000, to become 3,000, to become a billion. There is no way you want to grow money without getting on the journey of investing. So take the time to research, learn about different kinds of investments, government bonds, stock markets, whatever it is, real estate, learn about them. Choose the ones you like, and then start from where you are and allow the power of compounding interest to work in your favor. Now, by starting early, your investments will have more time to grow and compound over the years. And trust me, the power of compounding interest is said to be the 8th wonder of the world. Step 4. Practice self-care and prioritize your well-being. If you're not healthy, you can't create wealth. So transforming your life requires energy, focus, consistency, and resilience. And that's a lot on you. So you must take care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. You must engage in self-care activities like exercise, meditation, journaling, or spending time in nature. Whatever it is that works for you, you know it already. You need to practice those things. You have to live healthy and say no to activities or situations that drain your energy or cause unnecessary stress to come to you. Remember that taking care of yourself is vital for sustainable personal growth, even in your finances. Now, by following these steps, you're already on your path to transforming your life within the next 6 months. Remember that change is a journey. Every small step counts. Embrace the process, stay committed to it, celebrate progress along the way. I want to encourage you to embrace the power within you to create the life that you desire. Stop sitting there whining and complaining about everything. It's time for you to get up with clear goals, a growth mindset, smart investing, taking care of yourself. You have the tools to achieve your desired transformation. Believe in yourself Stay dedicated and celebrate each milestone as you make significant progress towards your dreams. And until next time, see you.
Welcome back from that. Thank you so much, the Investment Plus, for giving us those very important tips. You cannot just sit right there whining. There's so much you can do. Thank you for that tip, and I hope it's going to be taken seriously. Now we're going to join Dr. Ndayo Iwat. He's our biggest advocate for senior citizens, where we'll be discussing implementation of the pension scheme. What is going on? We've had states across Nigeria not gazetting this into the laws in the state. We've had those who are not implementing at all. What is the state of senior citizens when the pension scheme is not clear cut? That's what we'll be discussing. Hi, Dr. Iwat. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Hi, Jeff. Hey, new month. Welcome to the month of growth. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. It's so good to connect with you. It would have been really lovely to have you on in the set right here, of course. But I mean, we have to make do, right?
Thank you. It is good and fine. We're on the call and we're ready to run. Okay.
Yes, I mean, the senior citizens are getting in line with technology. So well done.
Absolutely. Good. Digital.
So let's go to the... Yes. Now let's go to the Pension Reform Act. I think that's where we have to start. It's concerning that at this point, according to investigation that came out yesterday, that while some states are partially implementing the scheme, others are yet to join, others have the bill to domesticate the scheme stuck at their respective state legislative assemblies. It hasn't gone any further. What would you say the state of senior citizens in Nigeria who are still waiting to have a clear-cut, seamless pension plan? What are they doing? What's going on? What's their state right now?
Thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate your opportunity. It's quite very wonderful that we should have issues with people that are executing the organized private public sector. And at 50 years, you are kicked off. And you are left as you are waiting for the day you will die. No hope, no future. And if you have worked for 35 years, and not up to 60 years, you also have the same fate. You have to come out from the public service and exit the public service and begin to think for yourself. So the pension scheme in this country, the former pension scheme in this country in 1961, and then the reforms were done in 2004.
Doc, do you happen to have a TV set there? If you do, please turn it down. It's echoing back here. Okay, I think there's a technical hitch right there. It's been echoing. That conversation hasn't been smooth, but it's unfortunate when we talk about the Pension Reform Act 2004 introduced the contributory pension scheme for payment of retirement benefits of employees in both public and private sectors, which is being managed by the National Pension Commission, that's PENCOM. The act, which came to fruition during President Olusegun Obasanjo's administration, we thought it brought a sustainable alternative, to the defined benefit scheme. It was supposed to be seamless. It was supposed to have more people into that dragnet where we are confident that in spite of being in the private sector, you can have your pension. Well, it still relied on budgetary allocation, and it's currently managed by the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, that's PTAD, and a lot of senior citizens have complained about the issues around getting their pension. And one would wonder, it's not supposed to be rocket science. Technology has brought us to a point where I should know what my contributions over the years is. I should know what is indeed set out to be paid to me. That update, or I've forgotten the word they often call it, to get pensioners to come update their credentials or update their registration. I've forgotten the term that's often used for that. That is another very big hassle. Now, while I can do updates in several of my agencies, I mean, I can do that online, these senior citizens are often compelled to get to banks, to get to stations, to get to PITAD and all of that. So I think we have Dr. Ewart right back to give us a clearer idea. Doctor, hi.
Sorry, I had a heated equipment. I had to cool it off. So sorry. So just as I said, in 2004, we had the reforms. Then we also have a review of the reforms in 2014. We include the private sector. So as it is now, those that were in the old pension, in the old pension scheme, that were pay as you earn, had to go through a lot of hassles because they were not funded. But from the 2004 to the 2020, it is a fully funded pension scheme that the employee at the time of working will be contributing 8% of every salary, allowances, so the government will pay 10%. So this was managed by private sector, third party, so as that assessing your funds, and a percentage of 50% could be paid as a lump sum to you. So, most of the traditional pension that they were on before catching up with the 2004. By the time you want to assess that one, you have to go to a lot of when you are named on your employment and on your need, you may not assess. So many people are now this open up. Your age, and of course, we are bringing another stuff. State government, even the federal government are also we go to remit. So government not remit, and by the time you retire, you go out there, the pension funds will not be able to pay the entitlement based on the completeness or incompleteness of the total plan. But now we are that takes a very long time to do that. Adam also is from. Then for the states, just as I said, they are overwhelmed with the backlog of the traditional pension that they were not able to pay, and they were not fully funded. So they have to budget for that, get the appropriation acts, and then begin to pay the backlog. So when the new reforms have come, they are hesitant to even look into that way because they are overwhelmed with the backlog of what's already done. So they did consultant to support them. They need to increase their revenue base, and they have got to keep appropriate records and align all the retirees. Because there are people that are even dying now because from old age. There are some of them almost 100 years who are yet to access their pension entitlement because of documentation, because of they were not properly funded. And these ones that are properly funded, those that were recruited before them who do not have NIN, who have refused to even go to do their, when they do their NIN, the kind of names that they are using do not align with the names of their employment records because the problem. So they have to go and do change of names. You have to go and pay about 15,000 to change your date of death, to alert. So many things are happening. So people also have to be proactive and begin to do the documentation appropriately and be digitally connected. So states gradually, I believe, they will come with National Housing Fund. Is also having the counterpart payment. So all these things are having counterpart payment. The problem really at the point of exit. So you see all these records have to be aligned. But there is hope. Even when you are not paid that, you can still come into National Senior Citizen Center and get engaged to continue to use your talent and your knowledge base to touch the lives of other people. Even if you don't do any other thing, you can be a mentor to many people out there, the younger ones, intergenerational connections, and people will be happy that they have an older man, an older adult in their midst. Thank you.
That's quite interesting, and you're right. People will be happy to have that. But when we keep talking about backlog, I mean, for somebody like me who knows how seamless we could use technology, infuse technology into making things seamless for our senior citizens, why are we not implementing this, using technology to ensure it is seamless? And then, is it a lack of political will?
Technology is good, but technology is operated by human beings. If you don't have, the setup of technology is most challenging but cost effective. If your records weren't properly, your hard copies are not properly made, you cannot. If it has somebody will take you time, will be stressful, will be very cost. At that point, and you know what happens. I think that is one of the critical issues when they want to digitize the records. And people, just as I've said, many people have so many names, and the arrangement of them on name, is what would be acceptable in official communication. So, for instance, you are ABC, and your name is CBA. So you have to go and rearrange. You must. So all these ones take time, and you must go to the management. You must go to National ID Card Commission to have this done. So this is, in fact, this is the critical one that I've witnessed now, that many of the retirees have felt that way it is being digitized. And for those who retired before now, who retired before the 2004, 2014, they are having issues of aligning the government counterpart not being paid into the account. So they cannot access those funds, even though that they contributed their 8%, and even though they were also checking it out before 2014 or before 2004, that they were not remitted. So this is the problem. So the state will take responsibility. Not as I said earlier, those funds will have to be budgeted.
Can you hear me, Doc?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
We can barely see your face.
Okay.
If you can adjust exactly. Is it possible to place it so that it becomes seamless? Okay, this is much better. I'm asking, can you place it so that it just remains like this?
That is fine. That's okay. That is fixed now.
This is much better.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that.
Right. So please go ahead with your thoughts. I apologize. I really needed to see your face while we have this conversation.
Yes. So we have got to get a situation that the state should budget, get the number right, and then budget for get the appropriation act, and they begin to this. But there should be a plan. So they may need to involve a consultant to help them in this, because the issue of legislation is not what you wish away. It has been published in the official gazette and has been approved by the CEO for implementation. You cannot shortchange anyone, becomes a legal instrument that you could be sued. So I also want the people to go for their rights, and remember that if there's a law, that law could be, the solution could be tested in the law court for whosoever. But our people are not very proactive, are not involved for their. But this is particularly when there's a legislation guiding it. Hello?
Economic challenges. You can see the inflation, you see the dollar rise against the naira and all of this. What does the law say about cases like this around the senior citizens, the pensioners? It must be really tough on them. I mean, if we haven't even implemented the minimum wage that the president has been pressured to do, how then are our senior citizens, who only just get a fraction percentage of what their salaries used to be, how they're surviving? And should there be a review at the moment? Is it possible?
There is it for a review, as I speak to you, and only those that have come in onto the pension payment scheme are also having to administer, and the money is not much. The palliative that the federal government promised, they are documenting it, and only those that are on the database. So those that are not yet there, what are they doing? So it is even worse. What of those that never had appointment at all, which is where the National Citizen Center comes in, and the State Consultative Forum, that you have never been employed, and this is an umbrella body that takes care of you, citizens and above, whether you have worked for public or for private, and you have never been engaged in any formal income, and you are citizens and above, that the hope has come. The National Citizen Center is now the platform you can key into. There's a website, there's a portal, you can go in there, be captured there, and then you could be aligned with employers that can engage you as volunteer or as on contract basis. You negotiate what you could be. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an artisan with your trade test, all of stuff, and you're citizen above. So you can assess that. You can form cooperatives. I think it's about 3 in a state, 1 per sectoral district, including FCT. You can form a cooperative aligned with the requirements, and you could be supported by Smiden. So there are so many opportunities open up there for us. And we're talking about women. Like if you see the example that we have had a national model at Ushafa, Grandmother Arise, where women are having 60% shares and men are having 40% and 30% and youth. So they form intergenerational cooperative that they are now engaged in farming. You choose your venture and you are supported by Smiden and a microfinance bank for loan. And it's a source of loan, it's a kind of loan that you can drive even without having a capital. You have your business plan, your capacity is built, you can do your business plan, and you go ahead and begin to have your cooperative rolled out. So the is the way to go, and it's a government agency that also be created to alleviate the sufferings of those that have been condemned as if they've reached their terminal point of life. But now there is hope, and we are very hopeful that those that will key into this will be better off, because the pension you're talking about is good because it is regular, but it is very small compared to how you were before you pulled out. So, but then there are people that never had any income at all, and you still have hope through the NSCC that you can now begin a new life towards meeting your God in happiness. So I want to say that states should try, they shouldn't take it as a burden, they should take it as a service to people that have rights. It is you are right. It's a legislation. You have a right. Even Constitution alone guarantees this right. So I don't know why states should not be doing it, because organization of this thing, because when something is open like this, a lot of corruption will occur. That people, because are not properly kept, and it is not deliberate at times, but at times it is deliberate. They don't keep records well, so that when they have to bring their list, they will put in so many names on that list, and it becomes a burden to the CEO, because a burden to the payment system. So this is why some states are very cautious in activating this and paying those that are saying on that list. So verifications keep coming up. People are exceeded by debt, and their names are still there. So a lot of things are happening. So we don't have a system of continuous update of these records, and we have the less. So, but what can we do? Digitize and let people get appropriate documentation of their names. Have your name, align your name with your names on your records, or align the records names with what you have on your name, in order to make things easier for those that are going to pay you. Like I'm not audible there. Sorry. Hello? Hello?
Parents are aware of this.
Sorry. I'm hearing you.
Doctor, did you get my question?
No, I'm hearing you now. Please ask again.
Doctor, are you there? Did you get my question?
I did not get that. I'm hearing you now.
Oh, that's fine. I'm talking about the compliance by private sector individuals who run companies, who have staff. Nigerian staff in private sector Do they know, are they aware that they are supposed to have a pension or be enrolled in a pension scheme? Is that awareness rife?
Awareness is very poor. The awareness is there because of what the employer will have to contribute. He's not willing to declare all the stuff that he has. He's not placing all of them on that pension scheme, and he's thinking of they may have disengagement packages, out of stuff that they feel is better, but then having this done, because there are returns you must do to the pension commission every year, declaring the stuff that you have, and by so doing you have to state how much you are contributing for those staff. So many of them do not do that, so they don't put all their staff into this scheme, and that is not good enough, because having a one-off payment for a staff is not enough. We want a continuous income for this staff who had worked for you and has now been disengaged. So we need the monitoring and enforcement agencies to do more, apart from just sitting down and looking at the database and the returns these companies, the private sector, are making. They should verify. They should have a way of verification and ensuring that what is on that database is exactly what is on ground. So it is very important, as it's a requirement for compliance, for annual compliance. It's one of the requirements for a company. So it should be taken seriously and tracked, so that whatever you are having on your database should be true representation, and no staff in the private sector should be shortchanged. If government that budgeted for your salary and all these things, pension, payment, everything, National Housing Fund, is hesitant in remitting, what do you think of a private company that is just there, is managing himself? That one, many of them would not be paying. So the regulators and the enforcement agencies should do more, both of the because the enforcement will be both for government and for the private, so they should do more. They have a lot of work to do. They should be strengthened to do more. They should sharpen their engagements and make things better for employees. Hello? I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. Oh my God. I'm not hearing you. So sorry. I'm not hearing you at this point. Okay. It's coming up.
Oh, nice. I was saying that, I mean, you just mentioned regulation and enforcement. Usually that's how we get things done in Nigeria, enforcement. But we're talking about a sector where the government is also culpable. So how can government checkmate another arm of government, and we would see that transparency and the kind of upgrade that we are talking about?
Oh yeah, government is the regulator, government the enforcer, and government consulting. So this is not just across the sectors, and it is quite unfortunate that we are putting ourselves in this situation, because all these things are not just happening; they are planned, but there are issues of regulation. You cannot just have things running anyhow. And just as I said earlier, that all these things are planned for and budgeted for. The framework for implementation, everything is. If you look at the documentation and the supporting authority, you'll agree with me that we are so knowledgeable in planning and getting things set, but to actually go out there and do what is right, and just as you said earlier, that the economic crunch is everywhere, I've deliberately, as an employer in the private sector, removed some names of my staff from my pension list, people that I'm giving pension and enrolled in pension scheme. And then you, as a regulator, you have come to my place Probably the fueling of your vehicle, the official vehicle, the servicing, they were not done. It has been approved that that vehicle should be serviced, but you needed to go out at that time to enforce and to regulate. And then somebody is here telling you this, and then please, it probably was to pay 20 million. Now he's giving you 5 million for that bridge, and you take it away because you have not given money to come out. So there are so many things that are making us fight. So financial backing for people that are in the field, regulators and should also be there. So not just for the checking off of salaries and contributions, you should also fund the regulators and the people that are to enforce. So they are going out there without stipends, without fueling money, though it has been approved, it will be paid, it's guaranteed that it will be paid, but nobody knows when it will be paid. So these people are vulnerable and they could easily be cajoled or dragged into corrupt practices that may further breach the situation and aggravate the sufferings of those that are entitled to these benefits.
So what should the government do when the federal government do when state government are not implementing the scheme in the states? There's only so much. The powers lie within the state government. But for the sake of the Nigerian senior citizen, what should be done?
The government, is it doing it very well? Have you gone to the offices and see what the pensioners are passing through from government and establishment? So it is not to announce that we have started what is being done. So that and the state know how the federal government is implementing. So when you know how they will remind you, yes, how far
This end, we are struggling to hear you.
Oh, hello, am I better now? I'm better now. The audio?
So
it's better. It's better. I'm hearing you.
Yes, it's much better now.
Okay, fine. So the state and the federal government, they have to do this at their time, but in line with the law. So those to say that the states have not, many states have not ratified the law. So it is to keep on engaging them. They have their Solicitor General and all their judiciary system in place. Is to engage them in the legislature. National Assembly can also engage the speakers of the houses, all of the committees. So this is not something that you're going to require someone to do. And the Attorney General of the Federation can also have meetings and urge them to, because this is what they have to understand. And delaying ratification is not a way to escape it. And the way to escape it is to do better plans and allocate funding for that. Fund that thing very well and get it off your way. What you cannot stop, there's no need to delay it. Quickly do what you should do, because the way to do it is very clear. So the federal government is just to engage the states. We have we have other laws that have not been ratified by states. There's little that federal government can do in terms of coercing them. It's just to appeal and explain to them, engage them and dialogue with them, that in the midst of their challenges, that there are certain ones that they can do quickly to also alleviate the sufferings of others. People that have contributed so much to the country. Any chief executive officer should not be reminded of this. That people that have contributed so much, because they will also retire and they will also need help. It's at retirement that you now know that you are normal. So we want people to have that feeling, let God touch their hearts to know that these are human beings. You are not helping them. You must give them what is theirs and sleep well. You cannot sleep well when some people that you know have contributed so much to this country in whatever way, that you are responsible for them not having the life they are desire to live after retirement. Yes.
Insight into what's going on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I was saying thank you for being part of the program and giving your insight into the state of the senior citizen. I know that's one advocacy you're very interested in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is where we are. And I've given the openings on what the NSC. So we want the older persons to begin to actively move away from the encumbrances coming from their assessing their pensions. That they should also look at other openings while we wait for the state. And we have union, the National Union of Pensioners is everywhere, and is a
Dr. Watts, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We really have run out of time. Maybe one of these days you really have to come be in the studio and share more with us.
Fine. That's fine.
Thank you very much for being part of the program.
Everybody, appreciate. Happy New Month again.
Okay. That has been Dr. Ndayo Akpan Iwat, the just retired director with the Nigerian FCT's Primary Healthcare Board. We've been discussing the pension reforms, that hasn't been implemented. My name is Joy Aswanya. This is where we draw the curtains on Aso Morning. Do have a productive day.